Hi, everybody, and welcome to NSA Carolinas Speaker Spotlight this month, featuring the newest certified speaking professional, Nicole Greer. Let's have
Yay! Look what I got
it.
right here.
Look at your beautiful medal, Nicole.
I know. I'm gonna get it framed, but when you win this thing, they're like you have to wear it every second of the day. And so it was so fun. You're walking around the Influence conference, which is the big NSA shindig, every year, and just everybody's like, "Congrats, congrats, congrats." So you got to get
So
yourself one of these. It
awesome.
was fun. Yeah.
That is incredible. For people who aren't fully aware of what CSP means and some of the things you need to do to get that designation, can you give a quick overview?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So the first thing that you have to do to get your CSP is you have to kind of prove that you can speak. And so they make you send a video over. I had to do two 20-minute segments and send those to them. And you can't put any fluff and things in there. It can't be your speaker reel. It has to be just you speaking to a group. And so you do that, and then they have a group of people that look at it and they're like, she's got skills and she really knows what she's doing. She's got content and it's original and all those good things. And so they watch that and you get a check for that box. The other thing you have to do is you have to prove that you get paid to do this work. So you literally have to like say, I worked here, they paid me this much money, and this is the deal. And so you got to have your accounting in order and be willing to share that with the NSA. And then the third thing you have to do is you have to take your client list and you have to send out and get 20 raving reviews from your clients. And so I sent out, I don't know, a bunch, way more than 20. And I don't know why, but like we doubt ourselves. And so I'm just like, gosh, I hope I get 20 of these things back. And like I got them back in the same day. Like I sent them out at 8 in the morning, and like by the end of the day, I had 20, and then the extras just kept rolling in, and then hello, I had all these testimonials that I could use in my
Fantastic.
business. Yeah. So if you check all those boxes, you get to be a certified speaking professional.
And of course, I will say you kind of made it sound a little easy, but it is a grueling.
Yeah. Well, you got to have the 5 years of where you've made money
Mhm.
speaking, and you got to be able to show that, like I said, in your QuickBooks. But if you're good at doing your QuickBooks and you get that done and you just stay up with it, I think you're gonna be just fine. And and there are many speakers that was my story. We have that. It's just a matter of sitting down and filling out the paper. We much rather be speaking than doing paperwork.
Right, exactly. With that in mind, do you DIY at all, or do you have a staff or a virtual assistant that helps you run your business?
Yeah, I do. I have this wonderful human named Terry Baltziger, and she is the one that helped me do it. What we did is we use project management for a lot of things. I use it with my clients and we use it internally, but we took the CSP outline of what's required and we literally put it into Basecamp and we said, we're going to do this by this date and this by this date. And this is Terry's job and this is Nicole's job, and we would meet and we would go through it and we just knocked it out. So we made it a project, and we're able to do it. And and Terry works for me, but she also works for other speakers.
Oh,
So
okay.
let me know if you want Terry's phone number. I'll give it to you. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay. In speaking about your business, you have a multi-tiered approach. It's not just keynoting. Could you tell us a little bit about what your day, week, months look like to fill the calendar?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do three things essentially, and I dabble in a couple of things. So the one thing that I do mainly is I do training. So I am going in and acting as like the learning and development department for different organizations.
Mhm.
And so I'll go in and I'll develop a leadership program where I'll work with like, high potentials or key leaders or C-suites. And we're going to go through lots of training over the year to kind of bring up everybody's business acumen and work on this funny thing they call soft skills. I don't know why they call them soft skills. They're really hard. So
I call them power skills, Nicole.
I love that. I think that's how I might just put that in my pocket and use that. But that's what we do. And so that's part of what I do. But to market my speaking business, or excuse me, to market my training business, I do a lot of speaking. And so, like most speakers, you start out speaking for free. You speak at the Rotary, you speak at the Chamber of Commerce, you speak at the women's event, you speak at the church event, you do all the things. But eventually, one day, you're like, hey, I really enjoy this part of the business too. And they kind of feed each other. You know, if you get a room full
Mm,
of people for training, oftentimes they have a husband that's having an event, right? Or
mm.
you speak at the Chamber of Commerce event, they've got a leadership team that needs training. So those two things are kind of like work together like peanut butter and jelly. And I would say the bread in my sandwich would be executive coaching. So, sometimes people need help one on one to
Sure.
raise their level of performance. And so those are kind of the main things. I dabble in recruiting. I do some boutique recruiting. If I get deep in a company and they're like, we need a new director of this, like I know them, I've done development with them, I've helped them build this thing called a vibrant culture, and so I can kind of figure out fit. And so I'll do a little boutique recruiting and some HR stuff because I'm an old HR gal. So you know
Well, that was going to be my next question. Like,
yeah.
did you grow up saying, I want to be a speaker trainer, or how did you enter this world?
Well, it's probably the same thing that happened to you, Sharon. It's like I have a lot of energy. I just do. I mean, like forever, I've just been. My brother, when I was little, he's like, you're such a spaz, you're so hyper." But that's served me my whole life to have all this energy, right? So when I first started working, I got in the restaurant business, and so
Oh,
that's oftentimes what it is for a lot of people is to be in the restaurant business.
sure.
So I did that, and I adored it. I mean, no day was ever the same. Before you know it, it's time to close up shop. I mean, like the day just flew by or whatever. And so I ran restaurants. Like I was running the restaurant, but then I also became the trainer. They would be like, get Nicole to train her, get Nicole to do this. So then, I became more of a person that trained a lot of people and did store openings and that kind of thing. And that was just a thrill when you're 20 something. And then I got recruited out of the Applebee's by this woman named Nancy. One day she was watching me do my thing and she's like, come here. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And she's like, here's my business card. Call me. And I'm like, okay. And I looked at it. I said, what do you want me to call you about? Because like I was just young and dumb. I didn't. And she's like, I want to talk to you about a job. And I'm like, with you? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll call you. And so I ended up getting into property management, and then I ran beautiful apartment communities all up and down the East Coast. And then one day they promoted me to training director. They're like, get Nicole to train all the leasing agents, get Nicole to train the managers. And so I did. And then I started my own business in 2007.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the
That's a
story.
great story. Very organically, because it was your skill set that led to it. Now, when you started your own business, did you straddle still working the full-time day job and do this on the side and build it, or did you just part ways with property management and say, out I go into the world with build a vibrant culture?
Well, there was a little space of time in there for 8 years where I stayed home with my children. So I have two amazing kids, Kent and Katie. And this is the true story. It's kind of sad, but like we woke up and smelled the coffee. One day it's like 5:35, and I called David Greer. I'm like, David Greer, you got to go get the kids. I got to do this, for the job. And he's like, I can't do that. You got to go get the kids you know? And so like I'm like, this is insanity. What are we doing? Like both of us are like trying to pawn off the children on each other. I mean, we love our children dearly. So like we came home, I was like, you know what? We need to go on a budget. We need to eat beanie weenies and, you know, shop, at the lowest cost grocery store or whatever we need to do. But one of us needs to stay home with these kiddos. So I stayed home with the kids for 8 years, and my husband jokes that I quit my one job and got three the next day. I decided to run a marathon. I worked at the YMCA, got a free membership, all these things. But for 8 years, I developed my children, which is still great experience for learning and development, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. And I love that. You developed your children.
Oh, I did.
Wow.
I have two amazing kiddos. My son, he lives in Montana now and he sells lasers. He's very successful. And my daughter, he just got engaged. So we're about to have a wedding. So I'm so excited. And he's found a great gal who works hard and has her head on straight. And I'm all excited about Rachel. Love her. And then Katie Pie just graduated. She's a doctor of physical therapy. Isn't that great?
Fantastic.
I know. I'm so proud. Proud mama over here.
Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
is a
Yeah.
big lift. And
Yeah.
to
Oh,
have to be able to launch them into the world that they are independent, thriving human beings is an amazing thing.
yeah, yeah. And so I
Congrats
was
on
still
that.
working, right? Although I was at home. But then my two kids got on the bus, and I'm like, Mama's got to find something to do. And that's when I'm like, how could I do training and still be able to get them on and off the bus and go to ball games and run my own world? And decided to become entrepreneurial. And I'm using that word on purpose because I think the biggest part of the CSP that people don't understand is like this is about speaking, but you have to be a business person.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
that's where the rubber meets the road. That's why you got to prove that you have clients and you have to prove that you make money doing it. So you have to be
sure.
entrepreneurial.
Yeah. It's a hustle, developing that hustle
Hmm.
muscle.
That's exactly right. I got one of those hustle muscles.
Well, my last question for you is describe what it was like. Well, two-part question.
Okay.
A, how did you find out that you actually did it? Like, was it an email? Was it a letter? Was it a phone call? What was the news delivered? How did that happen?
Well, it was both. They sent me an email that said congrats. And then, like, I don't know, I got that and I was like, so happy. And then I got a phone call from the CSP committee. So, like, they actually picked up the phone and called me.
Oh,
Yeah. And,
that's so cool.
yeah, and over at the NSA, the staff at the NSA is so fantastic. That's the other thing I want to say too is you're not on your own doing this because as you read the directions on how to fill out your paperwork and do all your stuff, it's written really well. I mean, like if you
Mhm.
can follow directions, you're good. Okay. The other thing is if that you are confused or you have a question, you just call over there to Phoenix and they're so helpful. They're not irritated. They're glad to help. They want to show you the way forward. And in the CSP area, after you do your application, there's videos of people talking about how to do things. They give you the actual, I mean, like if you're thinking, I don't even know how to do Excel, they give you the Excel thing and you fill in a blank. I mean, it's very easy. So it's just a matter of the time and energy to get it done. If you've been speaking and you've got the speaking gigs under your belt and you've got skills, you've got a video you can turn in, I just would encourage you not to hesitate and go ahead and apply. I think they open up. Don't they open up like
In
next month or something?
September, they open
Yeah.
up September and it closes, I believe, first or second week of January.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't hold off and try to do
No,
this
yeah.
during the holidays.
And it's phases. Yeah, so it helps to get milestones. Okay, so you got
Yeah.
the email, then the phone call. What was it like when they called your name at Influence in Phoenix? And
Well, it was really great. Of course, I was up there and we had a class of 30. I heard one person say, there's 30 of these people. And I was just kind of like a hallway thing I heard, but here's the thing I want everybody to understand is like only 6% of the humans on planet Earth that call themselves speakers have this designation. So it is a, a something to be really proud of in the right way. I mean, I'm humbled by it, but people all over the world hang out a shingle and say, I'm a speaker. But if you have done this, it's telling the people at the speakers bureaus and the meeting planners and the people who make decisions inside of organizations, who should we bring in? When they see that CSP after your name, they know somebody's vetted you in a serious way. So you can only do it through NSA. So when I was on
yeah,
stage, those 30, there were people from Germany and England and all over the world were there trying to
wow.
get this. So that was exciting. But I do want to tell you one last story, if I can, about
Sure.
you're saying, what is it like to be on stage? So back in the day when I first found NSA, my son, the one that lives in Montana and sells lasers and is getting married, and I'm so proud of, this is what one of the ways I developed him is I said to him, I said, Mama is going to this thing in Arizona, and it's 4 days, and I want you to go with me. And he was in college, and I'm like, I'll pay for everything. You just come and you go to all the sessions that I can't go to, and then you tell me what they said in those sessions, and you be like the note taker. And he's like, okay, because he's used to his mother asking him to do things that maybe normal mothers don't ask. So he and I went out to Phoenix, and so he wore a black suit and he had on his bow tie, and I was there, and we did all the things, and he met all the people, and so full circle, I called him up and I said, "Hey, you remember 10 years ago when your mother said she was going to get the CSP? Well, I finally got my act together. I got it together. I got my CSP. Will you meet me in Arizona?" And so he did. He flew to
Oh,
Arizona with his fiance, Rachel, and he sat in the front row, and we came full circle. And then when I came to the end of the stage, I blew him a little kiss. And so, the other cool thing about that is, you show your kids, it doesn't matter how old you are or what your situation is, you can keep living what I like to call a vibrant life. So he was there, and after it was over, we went and we had champagne, a lovely dinner in Phoenix, Arizona, and did all the things. And so it's great. That
amazing. I
that's what the best
love
part
that.
was.
How very special, Nicole.
Yeah, yeah,
That's incredible. Big full circle moment there.
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us, telling us your journey to getting your CSP, talking about your business model, and from all of us at NSA Carolinas, we're so proud of you and excited for this huge designation. And thank you for your time today, Nicole.
I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for the love. Thanks, Sharon, for your time, your energy, and your grace today. You're awesome.
Thank you.